Welcome back to the Angel Baby Show. I just had three amazing interviews. I'm so honored that I got to speak with them. I spoke with former SNL actress Saboin on her film Rushed that she wrote and directed. I also interviewed the producer Tanner Beard he produced the Whitney Houston biopic, which I highly recommend seeing if you haven't. And then also I interviewed a talent agent, Joe Lorenzo, and they were all so interesting to talk to, very unique in their own fields. Yeah, it's kind of nerve-wracking talking to people that you admire so much but it is so helpful for anyone wanting to go into the industry just to hear their stories and how they got started and success tips. I think that's one of the keys to building your career is just talking to other people, which I'm so thankful that I get to do that on this radio show.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think even, if you don't have a podcast or a radio show, it's kind of like that professor's office hours thing when you just are like, can I have 5 minutes of your time to
Yeah.
ask you something about your career, ask you something about class, or ask you something about something I don't understand. And people, for the majority of times, are always going to be really, they want to talk about themselves and they want to talk about, their achievements and what they can
Yeah.
contribute to life. So I know those interviews that you do, Elise, and the interviews that we do on Angel Baby Show, we're always super grateful for, especially, as two people that want to work in entertainment. And so any advice, any opening doors is much appreciated in this industry. So
I know.
yeah, we're really excited to be back from those really great interviews. I know, Elise, you've obviously you've done a lot of interviews, the majority I'd say so far. So I know that you wanted to talk briefly about just agents in general.
Yeah. No, thank you. I want to like after talking to Joe Lorenzo, my last interview, he's a talent agent. He works with like little kids, but I thought that would be a really great topic to kind of tell you about and then kind of help me I think sometimes like teaching someone else about something helps you with yourself because with acting, I've really realized that the key to like a successful acting career is truly just to have somebody help you and lead you in the right direction, help you get opportunities, get a job, negotiate with contracts, and all the things that an actor really wants so that the actor can kind of just focus on their craft. And so that's where an agent and representation really comes in. And in this section right now, I think we're going to really focus on what an agent is, why an actor should have one, how do you get an agent, and why it's so important. So just to give some backstory, I've done a lot of acting in middle school, high school, and college, and I've never had an agent, but it's always something that I wanted to do. And I think just with school and writing, I've never fully put I don't, like you get a little spread thin. And so
Right.
when I look into, but most people I talk to, they say like, oh, well, just get an agent. It's so easy. Just get an agent and then they'll get you. And I'm thinking, how? Like literally how? What do you do? And so for a long time, I would, for example, like when you're a working actor, you're trying to get into acting, maybe you want experience, maybe you just want footage of you on camera so that you can show people that you know how to act. I would go on to Actors Access or Backstage, which I highly recommend. It's a great place to start. And you set up a profile and you self-submit for auditions, and it's all self-tape now, so it's really like you can really do it anywhere, you can live anywhere. And so something that I started to do was I went on at Actors Access and I started to self-submit, and I would get weirdly, like I kind of did it almost just to test it out, and people would get back to me, and it was always non-union, low budget, short films, student films, commercials, but hey, it was work and I loved it. And so I would audition for them. And I actually did one. I did one and we filmed it in Ranch Cucamonga, and it was like a commercial for an anime video game, but I had a great time and I talked to some other actors. And I think that's just kind of the key, like just actively doing things. But the problem with that is, these were all very low budget. Some of them were unpaid. And it could be kind of exhausting for the actor because you were trying to kind of find your way through all these websites and roles, and you didn't really know what's going to actually help me with my time and energy and what's going to be the most productive with my time and energy. And so I think that's where having an agent really comes in handy, because it's somebody who has access to roles and agencies and films that anyone wouldn't be able to research. It's highly secretive, breakdown, that only an agent with the right credits can see. And so they can bring you roles as an actor, they can bring you work for an actor. And so I kind of got to a point in my life where I was like, if I do want to pursue acting, like I'm going to need representation, because I know myself. And I think having someone to kind of say, hey, this audition is due in 3 days, you need to send me a self-tape, that is so much more motivating than me just going to short films on a college campus. And so I don't know, do you have any thoughts on that before I get into
Yeah,
it?
no, I mean, I'm really just curious in like literally how you get one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I totally see, like, I mean, trust me, like having someone to book the gigs, and like someone reached out to me in Nashville and they were like, our job is to book your gigs, no strings attached. And I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Like, you don't
Yeah.
have to reach out to anyone. So yeah, I'd really just love to hear like steps, I guess.
Yeah, I know. And I'm just kind of going to go through what people have told me, actors I know that have agents, how they got their agents. There are so many ways to do it. There's really no right way. There's no direct way, which kind of sucks, but these are some of the things that I'm going to share in this video. Um, I just, an agent can also represent singers, musicians, writers, producers, probably even athletes. I don't even know. And so really there's just so many aspects to an agent. So that's one thing. So really anyone, even if you're not trying to be an actor, you can get something from this. But I think the number one thing that I've heard from so many like young actresses, especially the ones from the last interview I did with Olga and Sammy, they all were in acting schools and they had a talent showcase. And showcases are a great way where agents and managers will come to these showcases at acting schools and watch kids and students perform. And when they watch you perform, an agent sees your talent and they say, I want you. And then, there's a couple ways you can do it. You might go in for a meeting. One of my friends, she had to do a few cold reads, and then they said, okay, we're going to send you to a few auditions, and if you get booked, we will sign you into the agency. So that is one really popular way to go through it, is to go to showcases. I know that like if you're not in acting school, you can Google showcases, like talent showcases, commercial showcases if you want to be a commercial actor. And the tough trick about that is sometimes you have to pay to be in these showcases. And so you're paying a lot of money to perform in front of these agents, hoping that they will sign you. And I think that's when, as an actor, you really got to focus on your craft. You have to really know who you are. You have to have your headshots, and then another thing that you can do, and this is if you're not in acting school, and this is another way to go about it, is looking up, and this is something that I do a lot, is so if you go onto IMDb Pro and you get an IMDb Pro account, you can look up actors and see who the agents are that represent them. Because sometimes, like if me, I don't even know what agencies besides CAA and UTA, the really big ones. So you go online and you look at these actors and try to look for smaller actors that are working and are on popular shows, but maybe might not be household names, because I don't think like Brad Pitt's agent is probably going to want to represent, someone that is not an officially famous working actor. And so looking up on IMDb Pro, you can kind of be a private investigator and you can see like, okay, like this, we've been watching The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is really popular right now. And if you go on to like some of the actors that maybe they're not the leads, maybe they're like a side character, but hey, they're on a hit Amazon TV series and they're a working actor. Look them up. What agency are they working on? Who are their agents? And then you can kind of keep track, like, okay, these are some of the more boutique agencies that I probably have a higher chance of getting represented with. So then once you kind of have that information, when it comes to reaching out to agencies, it can be tough because a lot of people say, don't cold call, don't send a million emails, try to get a referral. So that is tough too, because you want someone to represent you and you want someone to say good things about you so that an agent has a chance of looking at you. And I think that's where people just say, do as much as you can. Let's say you are in a play and you're trying to get an agent's attention. Maybe you send them an email, a really personalized email about why you would love to be working for them. Please take a look, have a demo reel of some footage of you on camera, have a resume, have your headshots, send it to the agent, and then maybe say like, oh, I'm in a play next week, buy them their ticket and have them come see you act. Cause I think that is a really big key. They have to see you, they kind of have to know you, or they have to want you, and you don't want to chase them down. And it's a really kind of catch-22 process, in my opinion. And I think that's where it is difficult to get an agent. There's also something that someone recommended to me on Actors Access. If you pay a fee, you can join Talent Link. So Actors Access is kind of set up where you self-submit yourself. You've got your photos, you've got your resume, you've got your measurements. But with Talent Link on Actors Access, it's kind of like Tinder or some dating profile where agents will look at people on Talent Link and kind of sign each other. This is where you have to be careful with scammers, though. They always say, like, if you ever have to pay someone to represent you, it's a scam. Do not pay anybody. Try to talk to the agent. And then if you do have someone interested in you and someone is looking to sign with you, this is where you really need to ask the right questions and make sure that the agent is really has your best interest, sees your value, understands what you want, understand what they want. So it's a really interesting game, and you really have to kind of not rush into it, in my opinion. You have to really think about, what do I want? Who am I? Do I feel ready? Am I even ready to have an agent? Like, I think that's a big question is, do I have enough footage? Do I have enough experience? Because if you do get with an agency and they start booking you and you're not getting any roles and you're not getting any work, they might drop you, So it's kind of a terrifying subject to really think about. But
Yeah, no, I was gonna
yeah,
say, like, there are apps and websites like Backstage and Actors Access, but like Backstage, in order to actually submit, you have to pay for like a membership or whatever
yeah,
for Backstage, and it's just so expensive. So it's really like when you were saying be careful like about what you spend money on and what you don't spend money on, like it I don't know. I'd like to hear like, oh, it's okay
yeah.
to spend money on Backstage, but
No,
don't pay someone else. Like,
and I think that's where you kind of have to just be honest with yourself. Like, if I'm like, when it comes to paying, I do think there's just things you have to pay for off the bat, and it sucks. Like, you have to pay for headshots,
right.
unless you're me. Like, I'm so cheesy. Because I did so much modeling, I would just like crop a modeling photo and
Yeah,
I'll
I
say, oh,
mean,
it's a
yeah.
headshot. Because yeah, it's expensive. And I think that's why so many people, and that's where, the classic, you're a waitress in the day, you're an actor at night, or but so for Actors Access, you have to pay about $70 for a year subscription, which, I think it could be worse. I think
Yeah.
for a whole year membership to self-submit. The problem is you think to yourself, am I going to submit? Like, am I going to submit every day for unpaid roles that don't really guarantee my career? And so it's kind of up to you, and you have to gauge, where do I work the best? Where am I going to be the most productive? And I think for me, I am the most productive when someone else is relying on me. If someone is saying, hey, Elise, I need this in 3 days, I will get that to you. If it's up to me to do it and there's no deadline, I don't know if I'll get that in 3 days. Like, I'm just being honest with myself. And so and I think the next thing is showcases. I've never actually gone to one before, because that sounds terrifying. Like, you go into a room and you perform for these people and they decide if they want you or not. Like, I don't know. I mean, to me, it sounds terrifying, but
Yeah.
I think it's all very, I don't know. It's a tough game, but I think if you just the more people you talk to, the more specific people will get with their advice. If you reach out to an actress, she'll say, "Oh, like Talent Link on Actors Access. I didn't know about that." And I think that's a great starting point. Specific agents that you researched from IMDb Pro. But you're right, the paying that's, I think, a big reason why I haven't gone to a showcase. I don't want to pay $300 and drive to LA, but maybe that's what you have to do. I think it sounds like most people get their agents from showcases. So
Right. And I mean, the showcases make sense. Like, for even for digitals, for any online submission, like, it's cropped, you can get the lighting you want, you can get your hair the way you want it, you can get the angle the way you want it. But for when you actually go in person, they see the way you look, they see everything about you just in one look. It makes sense that agents would be way more, apt to picking someone up from
yeah,
an actual showcase,
yeah,
rather. And that's kind of like in the music industry. When I would go out to Nashville and talk to a bunch of people, they were like, get your own following, get your own
yeah,
stuff going on. And that's when music industries will even begin to start to look at you, because right now music labels, record labels are looking at people who already have singles out, just because with the internet and the technology today, they're like, we don't care about some up and coming, who doesn't have any followers on Instagram. Like,
yeah.
we care about someone that's literally already established and already has done work, and we're just going to pick them up from there. So it's kind of like, in today's day and age, it's not like it used to be, where you hear about like, oh, they discovered a Dairy Queen. It's like, that
Yeah.
doesn't happen anymore. Like,
Yeah,
with
no.
Instagram and everything like that, because anyone can post. And anyway, I kind of went off on like three different tangents, but
No, but
it
it's
makes sense.
all part of the same. And I don't, there's no, I think that's the bottom line, is there's no clear path. I think
Mhm.
you kind of just have to think about yourself and what works best for you. I think, I think social media is bringing, so, I mean, that's how we got into modeling. Someone
Yeah.
DM'd you on Instagram, saw your photo, said, "Hey, model for us." And so I think that kind of just putting yourself out there as much as you can while doing what you love, while
Yeah.
thinking about what you love and what's very you. Don't try to do something that's not you. Um, and I also networking, like, I literally hate that word with a passion, but like, and I am probably the worst networker on the planet, but I think just meeting people and talking to them, and one, you get advice, you learn about their career, and maybe they'll remember you, and maybe they'll say, "Hey, remember that girl? She's a singer and I should have her in this." So, yeah,
Right.
very
Yeah.
scary industry for sure, but
No, it really
good to
is.
talk about.
It is. I like what you said, like, have them remember you. Like, I remember, you know, you kind of want to know what your trademark is. Like, sometimes you don't know. And I found out in high school, everyone just knew me as the girl with like the really long blonde hair. So I'm like, if that's my trademark and if that's what people remember me by, then I'm going to market myself as the girl with the really long blonde hair.
Yeah,
And like, it's okay to kind of just be like, oh, well, like, you know, just, I remember actually mom's friend in the industry, she was kind of helping us with some things, and she said to my mom, she was like, Ava should cut her hair, like, in order to be like recognized as more like, I don't know, older or
I
more.
don't even know what she was trying to do with that, like,
I don't
no.
even know, but I don't know. And my mom was like, no, like, that is Ava's like trademark, is like her long hair. Like, that is like something that like makes her herself. And anyway, don't let other people try and like tell you, what you should and shouldn't do. Like, if it's not yourself, then, you know. Sometimes a haircut though does look really good on people, so don't be afraid. But anyway, Elise,
Yeah.
thank you so much for walking us through um the agent timeline, what to do. I have a lot to do, but yeah, no, I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for listening. It was kind of for myself, honestly. I was like, I'm gonna talk about this and then I'm gonna take notes for myself, because I think just organizing a good list of, okay, this is how you do it, this is where you go. Because it's overwhelming. And I think anyone can, and there's, if I want to do writing, let's say I want to be a television writer, I'm also gonna have to find an agent for that. So agents
Well,
are just, if you want to be an agent, you should, because they're very needed in this
yeah.
industry.
Well,
So
I was gonna say, you know, just like what I was saying about my TikTok, Elise is obviously gonna go on the hunt for an agent, and the more you listen to our podcast, I'm sure Elise will give us little tidbits about how her journey's going with that. So,
yeah.
I'm excited to hear more. Hopefully some success for both of us in the upcoming time. But yeah, I think that was kind of like to wrap up our more like serious discussions of you know, career and in interviews and everything. And I think we're gonna wrap up Angel Babies right after the break with some rapid fire questions, talking about our family reunion we're going to next week.
Yes.
And yeah, just some kind of like fun
A
little
little
get
more
to know
fun,
us. Yeah,
a little
just
more
a little bit more
lighthearted.
casual. Yeah. But this is the Angel Baby Show. I'm Ava Lynn,
And I'm Elise.
and we will come right back to you right after the break.